6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
What is up, everybody? What is up? Welcome back to Shooting the Shit Uncensored. I am your host, the dad bod god himself, the bald, the beard, and the fucking beautiful Piers Austin. And tonight, we are brought to you, as always, by the MWA Podcast Network. And I am really excited to have on my guest this evening, the gym bro herself, Jess. But before I bring out the gym bro, I want to take a quick second, a quick pause for that cause to thank some of those amazing sponsors. It helped me keep those colorful lights flickering in the background here. So first up, ladies and gentlemen, is healthvape.com. Now, you've heard me talk about healthvape.com. These is your healthy vaping alternative, guys. All of their products, no nicotine, no addictive or harmful chemicals, and they're vitamin infused. Guys, Alan Kiwi Funk says they're like smoking a Red Bull or vaping a Red Bull. I don't know, but they're pretty damn good and they're healthy, and they're a healthy alternative to vaping or smoking. So check them out. Use promo code MWAPOD to get a 10% discount on your final purchase. Next up, guys, if you are like my guest and an athlete, then you need to check out sleefs.com. That's SLEEFS, sleefs.com. They have armbands, compression pants, compression shorts, headbands, knee bands, you name it, guys. Any type of athletic equipment. I'm lost for words. They're that good, guys. They've got it. And they've also got dirty boxes. And you've heard me rave about these dirty boxes. They sent me a box of the boxes, and these boxes, I wear these boxes every day, and I'm going to say boxes 100 fucking times, and you're just going to have to hear me say boxes. But guys, they are the most comfortable boxes that I own. And they stay dry, they stay fresh. I'm an active guy. I chase after my 3 crazy kids, my wife, I work, I go to the gym. They stay fresh, they stay dry, and they stay comfortable. So do yourself a favor. Check out sleeps.com. Use that promo code MWAPOD and get a 10% discount. And tell them that Piers sent you. It won't do anything for you, won't do anything for me, but I just love it when people say my name. So guys, do me a favor, check them out. But guys, the MWA Podcast Network, we are taking it to new levels in 2022. Guys, we've got 7 shows for you, 7 days a week. Well, 1 show a week, 1 show a day, basically. But we've got shows hosted by, like Killing the Business, hosted by former ECW Original, the Kingpin, Angel Medina, with King Mega and the Burger King, Glenn Sexton. We've also got Knights of the Gimmick Table, hosted by the Dead Presidents, Boogaloo and Lowrider. We've got Get Funked, hosted by former WCW and TNA star Alan Kiwi Funk. We got the Funk and Kingpin show. We got NXT Roundup. We got Wrestling with Sports, and we got Shooting the Shit. So, guys, do yourself a favor. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that follow button. If you're listening to us on a podcast platform, give us a 5-star review. It helps us. Leave us a comment. Let us know what we're doing. If you got something negative to say, if you're going to be respectful, leave it. We like to hear it all. But, guys, without further ado, I'm going to bring out my guest of this evening for this episode, GYMBRO Jessie. There you go, Jessie. Welcome to the show.
What's up, Piers? Thanks for having me.
I'm really excited to have you on. I've really enjoyed the work that you've been doing in PWA. And since I've started following you on social media, I actually feel really, really lazy. Because like you are like a professional wrestler, pro lifter, strong woman, and a doctor. Like that's a lot to handle on one's plate, no?
Yeah, I squeeze as much into a day as I can, but I just wish I didn't have to sleep. It feels like there's just not enough time. There's too much I want to do, and I've got to squeeze it all in somehow. And video games too.
Damn, that's a busy lifestyle though. But what would a normal day consist for GYMBRO Jessie?
Well, I train 6 days a week, so 4 of those days would be lifting and Strongwoman, and 2 of those days be wrestling. I still have a 9 to 5, which is it's been mainly from home lately because I work for the government, which makes it a lot easier to fit in, sleep and training and stuff. So yeah, normal day is a 9 to 5 work, and then whatever training I end up doing, if that's wrestling or it's the lifting, and there's not that much time spare, quite frankly. Sometimes I fit in a couple of hours of video games, but I got to get a lot of sleep as well. So
yeah, well, we all need our vices, and video games definitely be yours. But
yeah,
the strong women competitions, how did you get involved in that? Because I've really enjoyed like strongman and strong women competitions, even since I was a kid. There was something about it that I really enjoyed, and I think it's just like the weightlifting of using just like weird objects and like big barrels and stuff like that. But how did you get involved in that?
Right, it's very grand, isn't it? It's all on a massive scale. These excellent feats of strength, a bit different to watching powerlifting, which is just, of course, 3 lifts. But I was introduced to a friend of a friend, who's now my coach. He's New South Wales 3rd strongest man, and he brought me along to the Strongman gym, which is out in Minto. And he just had me try all these different implements. I tried the yoke, I tried some Atlas stones, I tried some farmers implements, I tried a few different things, and I just instantly loved it. I'd never had so much fun in my life, I don't think. And I felt really weak, but I enjoyed feeling really weak.
It looks like it would be a lot of fun, but like
it's
the
a lot of
training
fun
for it would be so grueling though.
I don't know. When I got into strongman and lifting, I actually competed in powerlifting first of all, and I kind of realized strongman is just way too fun. I can't not do it. But I was very deeply depressed. I'd had a year of my life in which I was battling all sorts of things, and I was quite unwell. I was medicated for depression. I had even a month where I don't remember what happened in that month. Because I was so unwell, I stopped eating. I lost 8 kilos over a few days. And I was basically just at rock bottom. And I was, taking the doctor, I was medicated, I kind of started to pick back up. But it wasn't until I started lifting that I felt well enough to leave behind the medication. And since then, I've just felt more and more well. And it's like the lifting was what I needed to be well, to be my whole self. And so I've never stopped. And even on the days when I don't particularly feel like dragging my ass down to the squat rack, I know that I'm not well unless I do. So it's almost a non-negotiable thing for me. And it's probably going to be my medicine for the rest of my life. But being like a naturally competitive person, I guess it sort of made sense to also enter some competitions as well. And that's what I work towards a few times a year, various competitions. And the biggest one being New South Wales Strongest Man and Woman, which is coming up in June this year.
And how many people would draw to that competition?
Oh, we get a few hundred. Yeah. We get a few hundred people coming along, and it's also live streamed online. The strongman community in Australia isn't as big as in the UK, for example, or in America. It's pretty big. We get a pretty decent audience, but the atmosphere is something else. Even when we're in direct competition with each other, your lifting colleagues, your lifting companions scream for you louder than anyone else. And the whole crowd screams up every time you've got to lift something. It's the most supportive and outgoing and exciting atmosphere that you could ever be in, I feel like, and probably actually has a lot of overlaps with wrestling in that regard. The sheer level excitement and high energy, and the wish for everyone around you, wishing to see you succeed wholeheartedly. It's a nice place to be.
Oh, 100%. And even like, you mentioned, and I didn't want to sort of skirt over this, you going through your depression stage and finding, weightlifting and immersing yourself into that. And I really think that that's the thing with exercise. It's like it does the mind so much good as well as the body.
For sure. It's absolutely essential. I believe that human beings really need to develop themselves on at least 3 fronts, right? You need to develop yourself intellectually, you need to develop yourself creatively, and you need to develop yourself physically. And I don't feel like you can be healthy without at least those 3 core things. So I make sure that I incorporate all 3 of those things into my life. So I have my art, I like to draw and paint. I have my lifting, my wrestling, and I have my intellectual pursuit, which is my job. And there are probably more, a lot of people develop themselves spiritually and emotionally as well. But it physically is absolutely non-negotiable. It's essential for every human being, for your well-being. We aren't meant to be sedentary people, and it's just a matter of finding what you love. And for me, it was lifting. I love picking up heavy shit.
But was that always the case? Like when you were younger, like were you eager to get to the gym? Like once you get to like 15?
No, see, I had never stepped foot in the gym until I started lifting. But when I was quite young, when I was 12, I started at karate. So I did karate for about 16 years, and I still consider myself a martial artist, although it's taken a back seat at the moment to the wrestling. So I started. My mum brought me there because she's a black belt, and it was kind of like, this is what we do in this family. You're going to come to karate. You're going to learn how to defend yourself. So I did, and for a long time that was the love of my life. So I would never say that I was ever not active, but that it wasn't keeping my mind healthy in the same way that the lifting really does.
Yeah.
Because it was just what clicked for me, and I still love karate. I'm still a martial artist. It's taking a back seat for a little while I pursue things that my body can't do forever because they're too intensive. But the karate will always be waiting for me when I'm, old and broken.
Well, I mean, I think karate is such a good discipline, and I think anyone, who does it for a long period of time, the skills that you learn, but also the discipline that you get for it. And when you said like the 3 things for you, the mental, the physical, and the artistic side of things, that's pretty much I can see coming from like a karate background, because it's like it's very structured.
Yeah, look, it's very structured, and I don't know what came first, my sense of discipline and persistence, or that probably developed around the same time, but it was really important to me in developing a love for exercise. I think that's super important. I think you have to start human beings really young on a love for exercise. But martial arts is wonderful in that it's also a creative outlet, and it's an emotional outlet. So it's many things in one. And it did give me a solid starting point for the lifting. I was already very grounded. I already had decent muscle tone and good bone density. So all good things. And also just dogged, bloody persistence and belief that whatever I want to do, I'm going to bloody well do it. And I did, and I haven't stopped, and I won't stop. And I can probably thank martial arts for that a bit. Yeah.
And how did pro wrestling come into the world? Like, were you always a fan of wrestling? Like, was it something?
No, a funny story. I mean, when we were kids, wrestling was never on. My mum was a lifetime martial artist, and I think she saw wrestling as very silly, which it is. But from a fighter's perspective, it must look somewhat funny. So, it was never on, and I never watched it until a few years back when a friend brought me along to a show, a PWA show. And I watched it for the first time, and I really enjoyed the crowd atmosphere, everyone chanting along. I didn't know what I was looking at. All I saw was people pretending to hit each other and like doing flips and stuff. And I was like, that's pretty cool. But I really got caught up in it. And then now I don't even remember what match this was, but one match had stuck with me particularly, and it was Jessica Troy versus Shazza McKenzie. And like, gosh, I don't even remember what storyline was going on back then or anything, because it was my first match I've ever seen, ever, including not even on TV or anything. Must have been 2019 sometime. And I remember looking at those two women and just thinking, fuck, that looks fun. And could I do that? Maybe I could do that. I'm not sure. Maybe that's something I could do. And so I watched a couple more matches online, some kind of old-timey matches, really old, like 80s, 90s stuff, where I discovered my love for Macho Man and Ultimate Warrior and all that entire vibe.
Yeah.
And I went along to some tryouts, and the tryouts were heaps fun. I think the coaches, in their infinite wisdom, made us do something like 300 squats that night. And I think I smiled the entire time. I just had so much fun. And I was invited to join. But at the time I was like, oh, I don't know. It seems like a big commitment. It's like an hour drive for me to get to this bloody place every time. And I'm not sure. And I kind of ummed and ahed until the offer expired. And then I went to another PWA show. And I don't know. I just watched it, and particularly the women's matches, and I was like, no, that's it. That's what I want to do. I want to do that. I want to entertain people. I'd never been in theatre or anything. I never even thought of entertaining people before, and I just became fascinated by it, and I wanted to do it. And so I went to another tryout, and I got in again, and I joined up right away, and it's been one of the best decisions I've made. So
it's funny because like there's other people I've spoken to, that sort of went down a very similar route to you did, like Delta, and Lily Blaze, going to shows and just being, and even Cherry Stevens, as an example, not necessarily the biggest wrestling fan growing up, but going and seeing it, going, wow, this is a spectacle. How do I get involved?
Yeah, exactly. It just looked like a lot of fun, and just it was so great seeing female performers really applauded in the same way that the male performers were. They weren't treated as an afterthought or anything. They weren't like a slow point in the show at all. They were equally exciting, and the showmanship was the same, and the blows looked as hard, and that really appealed to me a lot.
And I think that's where PWA, does some amazing work, where it's like breaking down that wall of like the genders, and wrestling's wrestling, and you can sit there and watch good wrestling and allow yourself to be consumed by it. And I think you're seeing amazing matches at PWA. Like I think Jess Troy versus Sam Osborne was probably one of the best matches I've ever seen. Yeah,
that was a really intense match, and they built so much suspense throughout it as well. Every time someone was pinned, you're like, is that it? Is that it? Or every time Jess puts on her armbar, like, yeah, it's fantastic stuff.
Yeah, I mean, and that's
fascinating.
I think as well, it's that showmanship of it, as you said, that drew you into it. But talking about showmanship, like your character of the GYMBRO Jess, when we first saw you, this loud personality, bossing around these two massive dudes, how long were you in training before that opportunity presented itself to you?
Oh, a fair while. I wouldn't consider myself the fastest at picking up wrestling, possibly because I hadn't really been a consumer of it as a child. So to me, I was entering it, learning it completely anew. Like, I don't know what a sunset flip is. I don't know what a suplex is. I don't know what a match is even meant to look like. So it took me, quite a while to really understand wrestling. And I would still say I'm nowhere near as close to understanding it properly. So, it was a couple of years, I think. And that includes, I guess, a few months of injury. Did my knee in at New South Wales Strongest a couple of years back. I've done my back, I've done my ankle, I've done my shoulder. And then we had a pandemic. So, yeah, look, it took a couple of years to be offered that opportunity, and it was, man, I hadn't been so happy as I was that day than I had been in a long time. Yeah, I was truly both humbled and just so overjoyed when I got the message saying, do you want to be the manager of back pain? I was at work, and I just wanted to roll on the floor laughing. I felt so giddy with joy.
Well, I think that's like 2 years of like working at this to get that opportunity as well. Like that's probably the thing is like, I think with a lot of people, when you have to work for something and put the effort in to get that opportunity, that's when it sort of pays off as soon as that you get
Right.
that phone call, right? So it's like that's what you were working towards.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I'm no stranger to putting in the time. That's kind of the story of my life, is putting in the time to get what I want. And I guess the only adjective I'd truly use to describe myself is persistent. Is that when I have decided that I want something, that's it. I've decided, and I'm going to make it happen. And it could take years, but it'll happen, and I'm not giving up.
But that's a good trait to have in the pro wrestling world, though. Like, you look at like a lot of the top stars that make it is the people that are the ones who put in the work, the ones that don't, you know what I mean? Like they get their sort of setbacks and stuff like that. Okay. They keep pushing forward. And that's what I'm getting a lot from you is like, you've had some setbacks, but you keep pushing forward. You have that motivation. You have that I will not die attitude. And that's where I think success is built on.
Man, as long as it takes, and I'm going to keep at it. Nowhere near where I want to be, in any aspect of life, really. Quite frankly, I'm pretty self-critical across a lot of fronts. I'm not where I want to be with lifting. I'm not where I want to be with wrestling. I'm not where I want to be career-wise or in terms of my art or any of these fronts. But I'm not going to stop. So it'll happen.
But I think like people that have that drive, like they're almost never satisfied. And I think that's the thing. As soon as there's an old saying that my dad told me, it's better to be green and growing than ripe than rotting. And like he said to me, I was like in my 20s, and I said something to him like, yeah, I already know all about that. And it was something to do with my job. And he goes, then you need to quit your job. And I'm like, why? And he's like, because you've already mastered it. Like you're not going to learn anything more. So quit. You need to step yourself up. And I'm like, oh shit, no, I realized I haven't. And he's like, well,
no, that was good advice. My greatest fear would be to be stagnating. My greatest fear is to plateau on my gains. My greatest fear is to feel like I'm not making progress. And it's important. It's important to our feeling of self-worth, even just to feel like we're making progress in some way towards something better. And it's important that we pursue something better.
Yeah. I mean, otherwise you're just sort of waiting to die. Really.
Right.
Like
that's going to happen anyway. Why speed it along, right?
Yeah, I completely agree. And that's the thing, by keeping yourself active, by keeping yourself mentally active as well, and having that drive, then you're giving yourself goals to achieve. You know what I mean? And that's the big thing. That's the important thing of life, setting yourself goals so you're able to achieve. So then once you've done it, okay, what's next?
Yeah, exactly.
Enjoy the moments of your success.
You fall into the rabbit hole though of not enjoying your successes for long enough before you're like, that's it, did that thing, what's next now? I might achieve something I set out to do, and then I might feel good about it for a couple of days, and then I'll be like, well, that's in the past now. I'm not happy about that anymore. I've got to do something else. And it's almost like the constant drive or the constant motivation comes from a place of constant dissatisfaction. And that's an uncomfortable place to be. And a lot of people can't deal with constant dissatisfaction. And I understand that. I think I'm just dissatisfied by nature.
But can you sit there and go like, okay, you know what? I had this great moment. I achieved this great thing. Can you sit there and have time to acknowledge it? Or is your mind always like, okay, cool, what's next?
It's hard. I had a competition recently, Rise to Valhalla in near Newcastle. And it was a great competition. It was a lot of fun. I managed to win. And I sat there looking at my trophy for about 24 hours, feeling real smug, feeling real good about myself. Drank some spiced meat out. It's a goat horn, like a Viking drinking horn. I bought
That's
some
awesome.
spiced meat and drank it out of there. Put my hands on my hips and was like, yeah, I'm awesome. And then by the next day I was like, what's the next comp? I didn't feel that, I couldn't feel that proud of it anymore quite soon after. And even when people say to me, oh, you've achieved this, you've achieved that, I find it hard to feel proud of what I've done. And I feel like it's almost not enough. And that's not a great mindset. I wouldn't recommend that mindset, but it does drive me to keep going.
But you know what the thing is? I think it's a good mindset in the world of pro wrestling because it, like, in a way, it's sort of like, you're not going to sit there and bask in your glory and talk, oh yeah, back in the day I had this great match. It's like, okay, what's next? Move forward.
Yeah. I used to bench 225 in high school. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, right. So I think having that attitude as well just shows like that you're driven and want to improve and continue to get better. And I think most successful people, or all successful people, have that same drive.
Well, let's hope so. I like to find people that I admire, and I'll use them as sort of a benchmark. And like, I'm nowhere near this person yet, but I need that target in sight, and be that a person or a goal or whatever else. But I love to have a person that I admire to strive towards. And that's great in wrestling because there are so many people I admire. Even within PWA, there's just top tier human beings and top tier wrestlers. The standard is so very high, and it's great to have that benchmark to strive towards.
So I want to know, GYMBRO Jessie, how did the character come to be? Because like I popped for it. I think it's brilliant. I love it. And like, but how did this like come to be? Was this your idea, your creation?
Me and my friend who used to be training at the academy, we're on a long train ride, and we were riding on the train to the academy, and we started talking about what our characters might be. This was really early on. I'd only been at PWA for 2 months or something like that, and we were chatting, oh, what would my character be? What would my character be? And I was kind of thinking, well, whatever character I have, there has to be an element of energy, and there has to be an element of ferocity in there, because that's who I am, and I think that would be the easiest to bring out. As I'm talking with my mate, and he's like, well, you like the gym. What if you're like a mad gym junkie who takes 5 shots of BCAAs and chases it with creatine and then screams at people and then pumps some iron and then flips someone? I'm like, that, and it just clicked right away. I was like, that's it. This is already what I do with all of my spare time. It just makes a whole lot of sense. And drawing inspiration from like kind of really high energy 80s and 90s wrestlers, like I mentioned before, like Ultimate Warrior, like Macho Man, just the guys who get these intense eyes and talk with this super intense scream at the camera, the whole look and everything, that level of hype and intensity, and sort of pairing it with gym tropes, like you might, I don't know if you watch Bro Science Life or anyone like that on YouTube, just complete, gym bro nonsense. Like I stand in the squat rack and I curl and, wear stringer shirts in the gym just so I can flex my traps and stuff. So kind of playing into those stereotypes, because, when I'm in full hyped up competition mode, that's not too far off the truth for me. That is kind of how I act.
Let's do this.
Yeah, no, I get super hyped up, and especially in a competition atmosphere, like my energy can't be contained. I'm basically Super Saiyan. And so
you have to have that energy in those moments, like in competition, like to
you do. You need that energy, and so the hard part has not been that energy or even that character. The hard part has been getting over the fact that I feel silly when I put it on, and so that's tricky, I guess. What I really need to do is I need to actually take some caffeine shots before I go out, and then it's like this is authenticity. I'm
That's a
actually
shit,
like
kid.
160 beats per minute.
There you go. Yeah. Before the
Call
next
an
show,
ambulance.
I'll give you a couple of Red Bulls with some pre-workout.
I won't do it anymore. I'm caffeine resistant. It's got to be the strong stuff. It's got to be that the Rule 1 proteins pre-workout. God, it gives me heart palpitations and a couple of cans of mother or something.
I
Yeah.
actually saw on YouTube the craziest like pre-workout that they do in like American prisons, and it's like 2 scoops of black coffee with a can of Coke, and it's
They made coffee flavored Coke though for a bit, and I don't think anyone I liked it.
yeah, but you're a caffeine.
Look, I'm a caffeine addict. I'm a high key caffeine addict. Okay, but that was a good flavor combination.
I never tried it. It'd be an interesting combination, but like the character itself, fitting with back pain, I think it really works well. Like you can definitely see the chemistry between the 3 of you guys. And especially when you come out, give them the scoops, they go out there, they do their thing. But what I like, and we mentioned this before, is like when I first saw the starting of the vignettes when they were introducing you, I was like, oh no, they're going to take these guys and turn them comedy. They should make them killers, right? Because that's what big dudes are killers. And the more I watched them, I'm going, okay, like, no, they're actually doing something against the grain, which is like, just because they're 2 massive dudes doesn't mean that they can't show a sense of humor or character. And as soon as you came on the scene, I was like, this is brilliant. this is incredible. But how was it for you to sort of go into kind of like an established team and be that third person, so to speak?
But yeah, third wheel. They very much are still killers. They are massive blokes, and the reason why our chemistry is so good because we are all lifters. We all love working out, and that's what we all bring, and that's what we all kind of identify with each other on. So that felt completely natural in that way. Of course, they're both my seniors in wrestling, and I wanted to. I didn't want to try and take the team in a way that they didn't feel was natural. So very much, a lot of communication, a lot of talking with each other. Actually, got my Backman shirt on right now. The first show where I was managing, Backman took off his shirt. Yeah, good shirt. Yeah, nice. Took off his shirt and handed it to me, and I cut the sleeves off so I could wear it out. And this is my favorite shirt now. I was really touched by that gesture. Yeah. But I think the energy we all have is really good. We're all really into that sort of stupidly overhyped jock kind of bro science life alpha stuff, calling people simps. It's pretty funny. It's genuinely pretty funny for us all. But yeah, we love working out, so it works really well.
And that's the thing with the team of Back Pain is like they can have these comedy, like these funny spots, but then switch it up and just be those, as you said, those killers in the ring, where it's like they look like those big, mean, menacing motherfuckers, but then can sort of go back and to switch it back and forth. That's pretty cool.
Look, I think coming as someone fairly new into wrestling, I'm most interested by characters who can bring comedy and humor in, but also be taken seriously. Yeah. And I think Back Pain is perfect at that. They are 2 intimidating hunks of meat. But at the same time, they can be pretty amusing. And that's really what I aspire to in wrestling, is that, to be able to walk that perfect balance between being amusing and entertaining, but also being able to be taken seriously when the time is right, and being seen as a significant, threat or intimidating when the time is right. And that's what they've got in abundance. Yeah. So that's why I think they're so, Back Pain is so compelling to watch, in my opinion.
Oh, look, I agree with you. I enjoy both guys, the work that they do, and I think they're both great great dudes as well. And yeah, I think that adding you in as that third element definitely brought out more of that. And you know, I actually enjoy that sort of the simp shit and all that. I think that's brilliant. Whoever came up with that is like gold.
I don't remember who came up with that. It might have been Backman, but but yeah. No,
But
I agree, and we've got some fun stuff planned as well. You know, really leaning into it some more. Back pain's going to some exciting places this year, I hope. So yeah.
But yourself, you know, as a performer, you know, having goals and to wanting to sort of take it to the next level, what's next for you in wrestling? Is it start wrestling on shows, or are you enjoying the manager aspect of it?
I would love to start wrestling on shows. I have a lot of fun ideas. I'm just really excited to do that when the time is right. So yeah, that's what I want to do next. But I'm loving being the sort of coach / manager as well. Yeah, it's a really fun position to be in. I basically get to be hype man, and like, you know, that's what I am at competitions anyway. My competitor's hype man, so I get to be back pain's hype man. That's awesome.
Yeah. How did you find, like, you know, as far as like the first show going out there to the crowd for the first time, how much nerves did you have, or were you like, you know, I'm used to this sort of stuff with strongman or strongwoman?
Oh, look, it's a bit embarrassing, I guess, because you know, I thought I was going to be fine. I was like, I've done seminars at international conferences in front of a room of 200 scientists. No one is more critical than that. There's no way this will even be nerve-wracking at all. And then I got up there and my knees were literally shaking. I was so super nervous. And I was probably came across as super nervous. And you know, I'm a bit embarrassed. And since then I don't get so nervous anymore at all. But yeah, I got used to it quite quickly. And the crowd at PWA is amazing as well.
Yeah.
They're really into everything. They're a pretty gentle crowd, honestly. They're nothing like a room of scientists, that's for sure. And they're just fun to be around because they get into it. And like I run out there, I'm like, you know, flexing. I've got my pre-workout and shit, and they're totally into their flexing too. And I'm like, yeah, bro, I want everyone to flex.
But
Yeah,
that's a good thing, because it's like it'd be hard to have that kind of energy like with a flat crowd, like coming out. Yeah, bro.
Oh, yeah, like that's right. That's right. It's only possible because of the crowd. So yeah.
No, not at all. But I think as well, like the crowd amping it up as well would help you get more amped up.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, it's definitely a unique atmosphere, a pro wrestling crowd. And
so you mentioned like you standing up in front of a room full of scientists of 200 people. So are you happy to talk about your shoot job? Like, you want to say what you do?
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't do that so much anymore. I have a PhD in marine microbiology. And so that was I finished that a couple of years back, and now I work in conservation policy for New South Wales government. But yeah, so I used to travel overseas to present my research in front of a crowd of people. And I always loved it. You know, I love public speaking. Basically, everyone's looking at you for a whole 20 minutes and they have to pay attention. It's great. But I never felt so nervous doing that, I suppose. I felt very self-assured when I was presenting my own work. But yeah, so it's in marine microbiology, so pretty different from what I do. But yeah, and before you ask, yes, it's plankton, just like in SpongeBob.
That's amazing. Just like in SpongeBob.
Just like that's the number one comment I get. Oh, plankton, like in SpongeBob. Yes, like in SpongeBob.
Like that's crazy, because it's like, so you're a doctor, professional wrestler, power lifter, strong woman, and video gamer.
Yeah, I mean, I'd add a few more things in there. I mean, I'm trying to learn how to sew my own gear as well. So let's add seamstress.
I actually saw that the other day. It looked pretty good.
Oh, thanks. that attempt, it's been many attempts to get the pattern right. That attempt was 10 or 11 hours worth of work, only to be, as usual, dissatisfied with the outcome. And so this afternoon I'm having another go. So, I'm determined to get this right.
I saw the other day look good.
I think it looks good, just not good enough.
But is there ever going to be anything good enough for you by the sound? Like, yeah, exactly.
No, but I'm not actually a perfectionist. It's just that my benchmark for what's good enough is a bit higher. So I'll be happy when it's 95% good enough.
Right. So where is it now? Like 90? Or are you just like, nah, we just got to get that?
Sounds like 85. I think we've got a ways to go. Working with spandex is hard. Massive respect for the gear makers. It's a tricky job. And this is just making something for myself, which I can try on and adjust the fit. Imagine making something for someone else to their specifications, and my goodness, it's hard.
God. I'm pulling my hair out just thinking about it. But but it's to fact to be able to take the patience on to do something like that. Like there is I have zero patience for stuff like that. I would probably start it. Fuck that. I'll just pay someone.
Sewing has been for ages how I kind of relax. I like to put on cartoons in the background, and I like to sew. So I make toys as well. So I already had the sort of sewing baseline. I just hadn't really gone into costuming before. So, but again, I mean, I decided I was going to do it, so I'm doing it.
You're kind of like the Australian MacGyver. I'm going to be honest.
Jack of all trades, master of none. Yeah.
That's crazy. So what other skills do you have that you haven't told us about?
Oh, well, I don't know. Because I don't necessarily consider any of what I do a skill, because as I said, I'm not highly proficient at anything, I don't think. I just dabble in lots of things. So I also dabble in drawing cartoons. I haven't had as much time for it as I would like lately, but I like to draw cartoons, and I really want to draw more sort of like wrestling-themed comics and stuff. So I've drawn a couple for back pain. I did a little comic for Jess Troy a little while back. And I have a lot of other ideas when I can sit down and do them.
Wow, that's amazing. Sounds like you've got
It's just fun. It's just fun to draw people, honestly.
Man, I don't know how you find the time. Like I'm as I said, I'm exhausted just hearing about everything that's going on.
I sort of get that a lot. I think when it comes to stamina. Okay, well, look, I'm already in a privileged position. I acknowledge this. I work from home. I have cut out that commuting time. I also don't have little ones to look after, which, I imagine take up a lot of your time. So those are two big time saves, obviously. But I guess the main way I save time is I don't watch television. It's not part of my lifestyle. And then that includes Netflix or whatever else. I can't sit still long enough to begin with to watch anything. But it's not part of my daily life is watching things, and you do fit more in that way. But when it comes to stamina, it's like a person running a marathon, right? They don't start able to run 40 fucking however many kilometers. They start running 1 kilometer, and it's the same with your stamina in a day. Is that okay, you've done 9 to 5. You don't want to haul your ass downstairs and do squats, but you kind of have to train your body to have the stamina to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess I have. So.
Oh, absolutely. I think it's, setting yourself up and just, having that motivation. I always tell friends that, some say to me, how do you find time to go to the gym, do this, I was like, dude, you find the time.
You have to.
And I've said to a friend who doesn't work out at all, and he's like, where do you find time to train? I'm like, you just find it. I was like, when it comes to training and exercise, people make 2 things: time or excuses.
Yeah.
Stop making excuses. You'll find the time. Simple.
Well, yeah, exactly. You don't even have to find time. If something's a priority, it's in your life. And what's in your life right now is what you're currently prioritizing. And so if training isn't in your life, it's because you're prioritizing something else. And, that's not to say that everyone can do all the things. Lots of people have really valid reasons why they can't, like fatigue disorders or whatever else going on, or their carers, or there's lots of other reasons. But what's in your life right now is what you're prioritizing. And if you look at what you're doing and what's in your life, and you're not happy that that's one of your priorities, then you know what you have to do. And the number of years I spent wondering what would happen if I got into lifting versus the number of years I spent actually lifting. Like if I'd started when I first thought, maybe that would be a good thing for me, then I would have started many years earlier and I'd be much further along. You know, that the moment you have the thought that this might be what you want to do, that's the moment you have to start.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's like not hesitating or procrastinating on things as well.
No, and that things can get in the way. Fear of failure is a big one. Like, what if I put years into this thing and it doesn't ever happen? And even for me, even after I decided that I was going to be a pro wrestler, I still had many, many occasions where my brain is like, well, what if you can't do this? Maybe this isn't for you. Maybe you're not good enough. Maybe you won't be good enough. You're a slow learner, which I am. Which I had to overcome and silence that voice. And in fact, it's kind of funny. One of the reasons why I really committed to this path is one of the coaches at PWA, and he doesn't know this. Haven't told him. I don't know if he'll hear this or not, but so it's JT, right? So I was training for a couple of months with PWA, maybe less. And he stands before us in the core class. Actually, I think it was like my second week in or something. We've just done freaking bumps for the first time or something. I'm in ridiculous amounts of pain. I'm like, I don't even know if I can keep doing this. I hurt too much. This can't be sustainable. My body feels like it's breaking, which it does after your first few bumps. It feels like it's breaking, and then you get used to it. But so we're standing there. We're in immense agony after training, and he stands before us and he kind of looks around and he says something along the lines of, I've seen a lot of people come through this academy and I've seen a lot of people leave. And at this point, I can sort of tell who's going to stay and who's going to go. And for a second, his eyes rested on me when he said that. And he doesn't know this, but in that microsecond, my brain said, hell no, I'm not going to be the one to go. You're going to have to carry me out of here in a box. He's kind of the reason why I decided that I'm proving you wrong, buddy. I'm still going to be here till the end of time. So thanks, JT. But I guess you don't know what effect your words might have on someone and where their trajectory ends up.
Yeah, I mean, look, that can be motivating for people. You know what I mean? Like, especially when I think a lot of people that with professional wrestling, when you're a hardcore fan, which I think a lot of people are when they get into the business, it's like if someone's saying to someone, yeah, you're going to quit on this, is like, that's that motivation. I think that someone like that needs.
That's right. And I think he's a smart man. I think he knew that. I think he knew that, you bait people. You said, I don't know if you're going to stick with this. They're like, yes, I am. I'll show you. And we did. So we stuck with it.
But you know what? Like, I think people like get motivated from something like that, as you said, because it's like if he'd gone, I was like, hey, keep on going. You can do this. It's like, it's easy for someone to go, no, I can't. I'm done. Like, you know what I mean? Like there's nothing motivating at that point. It's
really depends who it is. Someone like me is motivated by being told I can't or seeing someone better than me. But my motivation styles are completely different. When I'm trying to motivate someone, I only frame something in positive terms, But that being said, it's clear right from the start that pro wrestling just isn't for everyone, and that's fine. You just got to find the thing that's for you.
Absolutely.
And it might not be this. It might be something else, and that's completely cool.
I think pro wrestling can be for everyone
I think there's something there for everyone for sure. Yeah. I mean, doing it.
You've got to be willing to put that work in, though.
Yeah, for sure, and able and
yeah. You have to be able to put the work in and be physically able to do it, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So
That goes for a lot of things too, but
100%. That goes with life, I think. So
basically, yeah.
we are at that time. It is time for Guess the Australian Slang. Oh, no, it's not. It is 60 Seconds with Piers. I've just had on an American guest not long ago. So,
Oh, watch me blank on these questions.
yeah, there you go. So it is 60 seconds with Piers. So how it's going to work is I'm going to start the timer. You've got 60 seconds to answer as many questions as you can. Are you ready to get this going?
Oh, they best not be trivia. I'm really bad at trivia.
No, it's all good. Here we go.
All right, let's go. Let's go, bro.
What song do you sing at karaoke?
Dream On by Aerosmith.
Snapchat or TikTok?
Neither. No, Snapchat. TikTok's evil.
If you were to release an album, what genre of music would it be?
Lo-fi hip-hop.
And what would the name of the album be?
Smooth Sailing with GYMBRO Jessie. Ba-bow.
If you can only eat one type of meal for a week, what would you choose?
Oh, Jesus, my coach is probably listening to this. I want pork ramen with soft-boiled eggs.
Would you rather fight 2 horse-sized ducks or 100 duck-sized horses?
Fuck. I'll take the duck-sized horses. I feel like I can drop kick them.
You have 24 hours to spend $2 million. How do you spend it?
Oh, real estate. Come on. Easy.
What would your autobiography be called?
Don't do what I did, kids.
What is the funniest thing to happen to you recently?
Oh, shit. I drove away from a 7-Eleven with my coffee on the roof of my car, and some guy was like, "Hey, dude, the coffee's on the roof of your car." And I said, "Fuck you. What are you pointing at me for?" And then I stopped, and the coffee went all down my windscreen, and I laughed really hard. And he did too.
And last question. In 5 minutes' time, you are being taken to outer space. What 2 personal belongings do you take with you, excluding human beings?
Probably my Nintendo Switch, and can I take my cat? I'm set.
Yep, done. That has been 60 Seconds with Piers with GYMBRO Jessie. Jessie, thank you so much for being on the show. I've really enjoyed having you on, and I definitely want to get you back on for a part 2 if you're down sometime in the near future.
Thanks, Piers. I've had a great time as well.
Excellent. Where can everyone find you on social media? And is there any GYMBRO Jessie merch that people can get?
There's no GYMBRO Jessie merch yet, but there will be, bros. Shirts probably in the near future, I hope. But yeah, on most socials, I'm GYMBRO_Jessie. So I'm on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter. There
you go, guys. Make sure you go follow GYMBRO Jessie wherever you have social media platforms. PWA have got a weekend of shows coming up this Friday and Saturday. Friday night at the Factory Theatre, and on Saturday night out at Campbelltown RSL, I believe.
That one's been moved to the Academy, I think.
Oh, yeah. Okay. It's been moved to the Academy. So, guys, make sure you go and check out those shows. If you're in Sydney, go and see them live. If you're not in Sydney, check them out on Fight TV. You will not want to miss it. But, guys, without further ado, huge shout out to our sponsors, healthape.com and also sleeps.com. Make sure you check them out. Use promo code MWAPOD to get a 10% discount on your final purchase. But guys, this has been a great episode with GYMBRO Jessie. Make sure you follow on social media. Make sure you subscribe to us wherever you're listening to us, and hit that like, follow, all those good stuff. And guys, until next time, we will see you very, very soon. GYMBRO Jessie, peace out, bro.
Peace out, bro. Keep lifting.